Hey everyone, Aussie Viking here to talk about Witcher 3. I was going to do this when everything from last year, you know, all the awards they give out, Game of the Year and all those like gold blog or whatever it's called, awards are out to do this. And I want to talk about The Witcher 3 being one of the greatest games ever made. Is it? Well, yeah, short answer, yes, it is. But the long answer is how? How is it one of the greatest games ever made? And I'm going to tell you. First of all, this game, The Witcher 3, has won over 800 awards all up, and over 250 Game of the Year awards. Now, in detail, I believe it was 315 to 320 Game of the Year awards it won. Now, here's the thing. Witcher 3 has won, so far, the most amount of Game of the Year awards you can win for a video game. From what I've read, and from what my research has said, it says it's the most won Game of the Year, it's won the most Game of the Year awards ever, right? Now, here's the best thing about it. Not only was the game going up against Metal Gear Solid 5, Fallout 4, Bloodborne, and Arkham Knight, Halo 5, and many other great games that year, but if you consider it to, say, The Last of Us, there were less Game of the Year awards out last year than there was back then. So for me, that not only does that cement The Witcher 3 is one of the greatest games ever made. Obviously, you want to try to get your personal opinion in, which for me is, yeah, it is one of the greatest games ever made. So first of all, like, yeah, I mean, but it depends. So I've always been a big Witcher fan, right? I played number 1, I played number 2, I've bought number 2 about 3-4 times. 3 times. Twice on console, once on PC. Witcher 3 twice, and Witcher 1 twice. So yeah, I have gotten all of the Witcher games multiple times, and hell, if they even did like an extended console version, which I really want, because the Legend of the White Wolf originally looks really cool, but unfortunately somebody screwed them over. But still, cannot wait for the next game CD Projekt Red make. But let's talk about The Witcher. So, Witcher's a fantasy, dark fantasy sort of world, sort of like Game of Thrones, but truthfully for me better, because, you know, everyone you love doesn't get brutally murdered. Although there are moments in the Witcher series where that actually does happen. But they're usually because of your own targeting, you know, your own way of going the story. Now, how is The Witcher 3 one of the greatest games ever made? First of all, to me it blends some of the greatest things I love about gaming. It gives you a huge open world with fantastic stories, fantastic characters, but it also remembers it's a game, you know. It gives you fantastic gameplay. It's fun. It gives you the ability to do whatever you want. You want to go to the main quest, you can do the main quest. If you want to walk around on your horse, Roach, and you kill monsters and hopefully get money for it, you can do that, and I love that. It's so weird how everyone's like, oh, there's so many open world games these days, but when you pull off an open world like The Witcher, it's so perfect in its, I can't even think of the word, in its execution. That's it. That's what it is, you know? I love it. And what's great is, even to this day, it does things that not many RPGs do. Oh, I'm going to help you out, young lady. Oh yeah, alright, we'll do this or that. You picked the wrong answer, and about 4 hours later, the person that you helped could be dead. That's actually happened to me a few times. There have been moments in this game where I had to put the controller down and just think. That doesn't happen every game, you know. That does not happen in every game for me. And there are moments where I would do a dialogue choice, and then you'd go, alright, that's fine, see if everything's doing right. But then, like, 2-3 hours later, you'll see the response from that, and how the world will change to it, and like the characters. And I remember doing one, and when I found out what happened to a certain character, I just went, oh shit. I literally clicked the start button to reload an old save, but it was like 4 hours early. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna reload the save. I can't. I had to live with that decision, and even when I finished the game, that decision still wrecked my soul, wrecked my heart, because the character was so interesting. It does things like that, and the good thing is, even the side quests in this game has stories and characters that are on par with movies and TV shows, you know. Now, it's not even counting the main quest and the main side quests, you know. it's just so amazing. I could talk on for hours and hours about The Witcher 3 being one of the greatest games ever made. It's everything I'm looking for in a fantasy world. It's dark, it's violent, but it's got hopes of light, you know? You as a character are so different and have such a powerful presence in the world that you can change it for the better or worse. Now, that does happen in other RPGs, but it just feels more human in this game, even though most of the time you're fighting monsters, helping elves out, and so on and so forth. And it even reminds me of Game of Thrones sometimes, you know? Actually, a lot of it does, when you think about it, which is another great series, but anybody thinking that the Witcher series is a rip-off, the Witcher series came first. Book form and video game form, from what I understand. The first book of The Witcher came out a decade, well, the first short story came out a decade before the first Game of Thrones book, and even then, by the time the first Game of Thrones book came out, I think Sapkowski had like 2 or 3 books already written, 3 novels, so... But hey, you don't have to have a fight. Trust me, you don't really need a fight over Game of Thrones and Witcher 3. They're both fantastic universes, and I hope to see Witcher 3, the Witcher universe, to have another great TV show. The TV show it did originally have in the 90s. I know 2001 was okay, but you know, it was 2001. It wasn't anything big, no big giant budgets like HBO does, so you can understand it. So yeah, like that's my thoughts on why I believe personally The Witcher 3 is one of the greatest games ever made. It's one of the greatest RPGs ever made, bar none. Is it the best? Well, that's hard to say, because in my opinion it is one of the best. Actually, to be honest, I don't have the best. Honestly, I love Mass Effect, I love The Witcher, I love all the other RPGs like Human Revolution, Deus Ex, and so on. I love all those RPGs, and I can't say which is the best, because there's no point. Because in the end, I'm going to come back, I'm going to be kept into this world, and I'm going to enjoy the story all over again. Now, when you go to video games, like, as a whole, is it one of the greatest games ever made? Oh god, yes, I totally believe it is. You can't really compare it with some games such as, like, Uncharted series and, like, Last of Us and all that. You can't really compare. You can only really compare the characters, really, and, like, how the story goes. That's the only thing you can compare. Gameplay-wise, well, you can't do it. And even with, like, characters and such, it's still a bit of a why. You know, why would you do that? I mean, I love, like, the Uncharted series and so on, but I'm not going to come and compare it to The Witcher 3, because The Witcher 3 just trumps the Uncharted series, in my opinion, in almost every category except for set pieces, which Uncharted just completely blows most games away with their set pieces, so on. And yeah, I never thought I would see a story-driven video game that's a video game, also a deep story-driven universe. You know, I never thought I'd see it. I mean, we got hints of it, but The Witcher 3 just came out and was just like, yep. And even today, like, even though it's a year later, basically, it still holds up. You know, you could literally. Oh, actually, the expansion pack for this. Now, this is another thing for The Witcher 3. Why The Witcher 3 is one of my greatest games ever made. They don't screw you over. CD Projekt Red does not screw you over. They give you hundreds and hundreds of millions, if not more, hours of doing whatever you want. Nothing's behind a paywall. You know, you get the game, you get in the game, and you know what? Hey, guess what? We got some free updates. In the free updates, they gave us better. Trying to remember. In the free updates, they gave us those chests that we can put equipment in because we got over-encumbered. In a patch, they gave us better stability. You know, well, actually most patches would, but they even gave us some gameplay changes and tweaks in patches. They gave us 16 free DLCs, which most games, especially Activision and EA, would sell for $1 each, but they gave it to us for free. They even told us we have 2 expansions in the works. Before the game came out, they said, oh yeah, by the way, we got 2 expansions coming out for The Witcher 3, and they're going to be great. One's $10, one's $20, you're going to get about 50 plus hours. Well, they said around 30 hours all up, but like I played the first Hearts of Stone, and I got about 30 hours in that one alone, so their timelines aren't the best. The one thing that CD Projekt gets wrong is the time that it will take for you to play. They said, oh, you probably finished all The Witcher 3 in 100 hours. I've played over 300 hours of The Witcher 3, and I still haven't finished everything. So, you know, that's a positive. It's a negative for them, but it's a positive at the same time. I love it. Which is why I gotta say, Hearts of Stone was great, a great expansion, and honestly, Blood and Wine, at this point in time as I record this and make this, Blood and Wine isn't out yet, but Blood and Wine looks like it's going to be amazing. By the time I make this, they've already released us a few screenshots and how big the map is. It's going to be as big as Skellige, including all, like, the main bit of Skellige and the other, and all the islands. It's going to be as big as that, which is amazing when you think about it. This is going to be Shivering Isles level of beauty when we think about it, but with better characters and better story, and vampires. Hopefully a lot of ancient vampires. I'm getting so excited for that. I mean, if I could this year rename for a game of the year another, like an older game or an expansion for a game, I would say Blood and Stone. Because if this has as much depth and beauty and hardship and blood and sweat that Hearthstone did, but more so, it's game of the year material. Hell, Blood and Wine is most likely going to have a better story, better characters, and better open world than 90% of games this year. Even if the game isn't open world, it's literally like, take away the open world bit, it's still gonna have probably better characters, story, and design than 90% of video games out this year. Which is why CD Projekt Red has now shot up to my most anticipated game creators ever, developers, and one of the greatest developers I could ever think of. You know, when they released information like pre-orders and such on a new game, oh crap, what's it called? The sci-fi punkish sort of thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it looked really cool, the CGI trailer and such. As soon as they release like details for like a collector's edition, I'm putting money down. I'm getting it. Like, that's a day one buy it for me. And the only developers that are day one buys for me are 343 Industries, Bethesda, and CD Projekt Red. They're the only ones out there. Oh, and Rockstar. They're the only ones out there that I will buy day one. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I can't wait. Oh, and Remedy, because Remedy actually makes some brilliant games. So yes, that was my fanboy rambling on why I believe Witcher 3 is the greatest game ever made. Well, one of the greatest games. Like I said, I don't want to say the best, because your opinion's going to be different and it's not mine. And, you know, if you're somebody out there that listens to others' opinions, me saying it's the best game ever made, you play it expecting the best game and it doesn't live up to your expectations, can hurt it. You know, your experience and the experience that you would tell others. So it's like, I think it's one of the greatest games ever made, but it's up to you to play it and figure it out for yourself, because it's my opinion versus yours. If you like this game and think it's one of the greatest games ever made, it is. For you, me, and many others, it is. If you don't think it is, but you think it's one of the greatest RPGs ever made, or up there, go for it, it is. So yeah, that's Aussie Viking out. I shall see you all in Valhalla. See you guys later. Bye.